Is the vibe back in the XRP family or what, folks? It is July 10th, 2025, and in today's update, we are talking about a conservative $7 to $15 XRP. I'm going to repeat, a conservative $7 to $15 XRP, and I think that you guys are going to be surprised on this timeline, because I'm not just going to throw out that prediction. We're actually going to give you the time frame on when one of our favorite technical analysis experts, and I do consider him a true expert. I don't say that about many in the TA space, but we're going to give a shout out to Waters Above Crypto tonight. I was watching his video earlier today, and I think that it sets the tone for tonight's live show when we can have an expectation of a $7 to $15 XRP here very shortly. So we're going to break that down along with the full update. The market has just been ripping for XRP. Now, of course, Bitcoin is back up to a new all-time high. We're going to show you the charts here as we get started, and then we're going to get into a full update along with a Q&A session at the end. I appreciate everybody for stopping by, and if you haven't already, please make sure that you have subscribed. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our updates. And make sure you guys come on back every Tuesday and Thursday. We do these live shows. And then on Saturday, we do our Discord weekly call. That's an exclusive call just for our Discord community. And I can't say it enough, folks. As we enter this price discovery, XRP into all-time high moment, it's going to come and go very quickly. So if there ever was a time to get tapped in with somebody, whether or not that be with our community or somebody else's community that's going to get you tapped in so that you have a pulse on this market and how quickly it's going to come and go. I know that I have a couple bags of crap that I'm looking to get rid of, and I'm not going to call out those tickers yet. But I got some bags of crap that I need to offload, and so I'm looking to do that. But in a serious, from a serious standpoint, we do need to hone in right now, whether it be XRP or all of our other current holdings in the digital asset space. This bull run is on. The broader, breadth into the alts has not started yet, but XRP and Bitcoin are leading the way. And we're going to talk about this time frame. It's not far out. It is not far out. It looks like we're looking at the end of August into the beginning of September that we could see this conservative $7 to $15 XRP. Stick around for the full analysis. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. Let's get it going here. Starting off with Bitcoin up 73% since the election. Goes all the way up here to about 117,000 today. New all-time high. But from an ROI standpoint, since the election and the Trump reality, has this been the best pick? No, not even close. Now, compared to Ethereum, let's take a look here at ETH. Well, since the election, ETH, how cooked is ETH right now? ETH is only up 24% since the election. That is just brutal on this Ethereum chart right now. So Ethereum, since the election, not a very good pick. Bitcoin, a little bit better with about a 73% swing that we see right now. But XRP still well in the lead, up over 400% since the election. When I zoom out here on the daily chart, it gives us the full perspective from about 50 cents to back up over $2.55. Now, we just closed off the day here. Let's zoom in here. Absolute tear this week for XRP. We closed off the week Sunday at 225. That was big. That was the signal. We closed off the next day there at 227, Monday. Tuesday, we closed it off up here at $2.31. And then that was yesterday, Wednesday, that we closed off at $2.40. It has been nothing but inflows, mostly from Korea. We're going to talk about it later. I got the order book analysis ready and pulled up to show you. You're going to be surprised when you see, despite all of the selling, we've had enough inflows to continue powering XRP up above $2.50. We're at 255.5 right now, and it looks like we hit up to about 257 is what I pulled here on my Qcoin chart. It's what I pulled on Coinbase. And yes, my XRP long position is well into profit at this point. Well played. XLM, Big rally here for XLM. Let's take an adjustment here to see how far up this one's at since the election. 231% since the election. Now, you did get a full 600% swing on XLM after the election, though. So if you did time that one right, the XLM pump was bigger than the XRP election pump, but currently we're only 230% above where we were at the election day. So XLM still holding strong. For Flare, we are lagging. For Flare, we are lagging. If we measure this since the election, we're only up about 44% right now. Still under 2 cents for Flare. I remain bullish and I still hold it. XDC, we're up above 7 cents, I should say. So XDC has recovered above 7 cents. This is one that I still see some tremendous upside on. I continue to hold this one with a lot of conviction behind it. Let me scroll on down to H-bar. Yeah, you still probably could swing a 10-bagger. If this sucker runs up to $2, that's a heck of a move there for H-bar. And so I did load up my bags on H-bar, up 365% since the election. So when you compare, remember 70% for Bitcoin, Ethereum is up 25% or something like that. Ethereum just has a bunch of bag holders. It's in a tough spot, to say the least, and just to put it nicely. When you look at XLM, it's up 230% since the election. And I'm looking at HBAR right now, up 365% since the election. But the number one spot right now, the strength on display for XRP, up 400% since the election. For the new people here, please understand that you're going to be here for ROI. At least I am, and most people probably should be. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't give financial advice. So if you just want to hold Bitcoin because it's the highest price, it has the highest market value, and you think that that's the play, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. But from an ROI standpoint, we are destroying Bitcoin since the election, and we will continue to dominate the rest of this bull run with our utility cryptocurrencies that are absolutely in the lead when it comes to price performance since the new reality. We could talk about history. We could talk about, oh, I should have bought Bitcoin. Oh, I should have done. I'm telling you right now, I'm wishing that I would have loaded up on some more of these utility cryptocurrencies. I don't regret, not buying Bitcoin as much as I regret not buying more of HBAR, XLM, XRP. For crying out loud, Sologenic pumped about 900% after the election, and that's why I doubled up my position on Sologenic as well too. We have been doing nothing but stacking real utility for the past 6 months of consolidation. Thankfully, this 6 months of consolidation from January until now has given an opportunity for new people to come in and for folks that have already been in the space to double up, triple up, and just, continue to stack positions with real conviction that will continue to be the top performers throughout this bull run. And as I see new opportunities, I will bring that up for you guys. But right now, it's our main bag still in the lead, and I expect that to continue. Let's go through our full update, though, and then we'll get back into your Q&A. Panikin's hardest hit. This is the White House posting memes of green candles going up into the right. That's where we're at. This is our current reality. The White House showing up here. And this is after President Trump put out a Truth Social post. Tech stocks, industrial stocks, and NASDAQ hit all-time records. Crypto through the roof. Nvidia is up 47% since Trump tariffs. United States is taking in hundreds of billions in tariffs revenue. Country is now back. A great credit. Fed should rapidly lower rate to reflect this strength. USA should be at the top of the list. No inflation. And I believe that I saw that President Trump is now calling for a 300 basis point rate cut. That's a 3% overall rate cut that President Trump is calling for at this moment. Now, speaking of rate cuts, Fed member Christopher Waller says the Federal Reserve can consider cutting interest rates this month. Now, this is the big one to watch out for because this July meeting, which I believe I don't think it's next week. I think it's 22nd, it's later. It's later this month. But we had 2 meetings left, June and July, before the Federal Reserve takes their August recess, their August break. And so this is our last opportunity to get a rate cut until we have to wait till September for the next Fed interest rate decision. Now, Christopher Waller, Fed board member, he's more of a dovish Fed member. And so he's been outspoken in his dovish ideas and policy standpoints. We'll probably see a pause. I'm not expecting a rate cut. I think that Jerome Powell and the Fed is playing politics and wants to stick it to President Trump. But either way, what's worthy of noting is that this rally is taking place without the rate cuts. This rally is taking place, the big beautiful bill just passed here July 4th, and we've started to rally ever since, right? But we still are looking at the stablecoin legislation, the market structure bill, ETFs, and broader adoption right around the corner, along with other catalysts for XRP, like the case being dropped as well. You combine that with the macro catalysts like Fed hasn't dropped rates yet. Now, the initial reaction to Fed rate cuts will not be positive. I expect that we would actually get a pullback on the day and in and around that event taking place, because it's the Fed waving the white flag, and it's a sign of weakness from the Fed in that regard. And so I would actually anticipate a pullback when that does happen, but it'll be a strong, sharp V-shaped recovery after that as the conditions ease and people feel more comfortable throwing money at the cryptocurrency space. And that's where we'll see those inflows. We've been talking about those inflows. We're going to talk about them later tonight, but we got a lot more inflows on the way. Senate has just confirmed gold in a vote of 50 to 45. This is for the OCC. This is for the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. He is pro-crypto with a track record that includes greenlighting crypto custody and stablecoin guidance while at the U.S. OCC and later serving as chief legal officer at Bitfury. This guy's all about crypto. He's now at the OCC. This is who Ripple has just requested for the trust charter. A lot of people reporting it as a bank charter. We like to clarify that, though, for everybody so that you understand. They actually are operating under a trust company, that's Standard Custody. And that is the trust company that Ripple acquired. And they have full approval from the New York Department of Financial Services, not just on that operation with Standard Custody, but also with RLUSD. And now, if they get the OCC trust charter approval, that would be the next step. And I can't see any reason why that wouldn't be given to Ripple, given that this new OCC comptroller of the currency gold is pro-crypto. I expect this to be passed and accepted soon, like within the next year. I should clarify that time frame. It does take some time, but within the next year, we should see Ripple become an official trust charter recognized by the OCC. And you combine that with the Fed master account that they've applied for as well. Next week is Crypto Week, July 14th through the 18th. This is going to be a big one. We have the Clarity Act, the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act. We love to see that. We are absolutely against the CBDCs. In fact, we're against the central bank. That's another conversation, but hey, we got to start somewhere. So let's get that Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act passed. Thank you very much. That'd be good. And then the Genius Act, and that's the stablecoin bill. So you have the market structure is the Clarity Act. That's going to give us clarity on crypto markets as a whole. Some definitions, some jurisdictions. And this is the big takeaway from the Senate testimony that Brad Garnhouse gave this week. The whole conversation was about, one, crypto being used for criminal activity. Complete waste of time. If you're a criminal and you're using crypto, you're a moron. It's just that simple. So that was a waste of time. And then the next second point, big part of the hearing was on jurisdiction between the CFTC and the SEC. And I broke this down in the live show earlier this week when we were covering it live. And I said, guys, this is not complicated at all. These assets are not securities in and of themselves. They are commodities. And so the spot market and the futures markets for these assets should be regulated by the CFTC. It's just that simple. And then when these assets get packaged up in investment contracts, think about ICOs, think about options contracts, the early sales, the early institutional sales that Ripple was conducting that Judge Torres ruled was an investment contract, unregistered security. They had lockup periods. They had expectations. There was options contracts. That was an investment contract. Was XRP a security in that instance? No. XRP is not the security. It's the contract. It's literally the contract that's an investment contract, unregistered security offering, not XRP. And so jurisdiction should be clear. But, the Senate Banking Committee doing what these politicians do, the DC dance, where we had Elizabeth Warren wasting time. Brad Garlinghouse was only called on twice to speak. But the important point is that he did get to take center stage. He did get to speak to how we've overcome. The headwinds have shifted into tailwinds after we've overcome the SEC. We know that XRP is not a security. And this is Brad Garlinghouse saying this in front of the whole world to see, directly to Congress. And I'm still waiting. I need somebody to clip up. Somebody had to have had the shot of Elizabeth Warren when Brad Garlinghouse was giving his open testimony. Like, if somebody has that clip, I need it. I'll pay you for it. Can somebody clip that? Somebody has to have that. I want to see Elizabeth Warren's face when she had to listen to Brad Garlinghouse lay out the facts that XRP is not a security. We've defeated the SEC, and how we're going to be unlocking the internet of value, leading the way in the United States. I need to see that clip, please. So if somebody's got it, send it my way, and maybe I'll give you a reward or something like that. Okay? We saw her reactions, though. Absolute meltdown. Absolute meltdown. And so the DC dance, per usual, wasting time, distracting from the real issue at hand, which is how it's a matter of national security to get the stablecoin legislation passed. The hearing in particular was on market structure. We have to follow up stablecoin legislation with the market structure so that we can fully unlock the U.S. market and become the crypto capital of the world. I think that the last thing that we also need to do is remove capital gains tax on crypto. That's my big hope, prayer, and wish. We'll see if that comes through, but if it does, 100% we become the crypto capital of the world. 100%. That's the only thing that other jurisdictions have us beat on. We have bigger capital markets. We have more money within our capital markets. We have more institutions here. But if we stay behind when it comes to taxes and regulation, then other jurisdictions are going to continue to see those inflows of investor dollars, entrepreneurs and capitalists that are leaving the United States because they don't want to pay our capital gains, along with deal with our burdensome regulators and everything else that we've been up against, which appears to all be shifting now. But the cherry on top is removing capital gains tax. You want to talk about making America the crypto capital of the world? That's just the start. You would once again make the U.S. economy, pump like never before if we were able to remove, in combination, some of those taxes with the regulations. It's game on. It's absolutely game on. By the way, guys, if you haven't already, let's make sure that we've liked this show here. Make sure that we've tapped it, smacked it, shared it out far and wide. We want to make sure that we have a party here tonight because there's a lot to celebrate. The only people that aren't celebrating right now are those on the sidelines that don't have any XRP and those that tried to short XRP. Rest in peace to these guys. Not going so well for those that shorted XRP. Saul, he's got it scrapbooked up here. He's got it clipped up. This guy right here, Money GCC. This is on March 10th. Wait till you see 30 cents again. Now, this is the guy, one of many guys, that said we had to go back to 50 cents. We had to go back to 80 cents. And you've probably heard me refer to this comment that he made a few times now because it's worth repeating. These are the types of guys that were telling us, don't be greedy. XRP's at $1.90. Don't be greedy. Ripple's about to dump on you. And right after that, XRP actually pumped. It did not dump at all. It was the first of the month right after that. And so what do the haters and the fudsters normally say? Oh, Ripple's about to dump on you. Even though they have no idea that Ripple's only been selling to institutions. It's not possible for Ripple to dump on us, Joe Blow retail, because they're not selling to retail. So if you're going to come and hate and troll, come correct, please, and get your facts straight. Ripple's not dumping on us because they're only selling to institutions. They've been doing so since Q3 of 2019, and we know that from the lawsuit. And Ripple did not dump on us. XRP pumped all the way up to 340. So the guys that were telling us, don't be greedy, sell it at $1.90 because we have to go back to 80 cents, they're now gone. All these guys. They have no platform left. Their reputation is cooked, as we like to say. Finished. They are gone. I don't see them anymore. They've all left. And I can't wait to see them try to come on back. They're going to come on back later. And they're going to they'll fabricate some screenshots. They'll make up some story. Oh, that was just my trading bag, bro. I still held my XRP. No, you didn't. These are the types of guys that trade their entire bags of XRP. XRP is a trader's coin, right? And so these guys just like to get in and be slick with it until it goes the wrong way. And that's what's happening as we wiped out. I think I saw it was hundreds of millions that we wiped out earlier today. Shorts getting liquidated. The shorts are getting cleaned right now. And we just continue to see XRP rally. You don't want to stand in front of this freight train right now. Tap Tools put together this diagram, which I thought was actually pretty interesting. XRP and Cardano are the only assets that check all three boxes. Made in America, mentioned by a US president, have active ETF applications. So they put together this diagram. And this is kind of how I invest, right? I've been heavy into utility cryptocurrencies based in America. One other thing that I am watching is to see who's got spot ETFs on the way and which cryptos are being included in basket ETFs as well too. Now, Cardano, I actually think that it does flip up a couple times. You know, it's going to double up and triple up from the levels that it's at right now. I think that you could see Cardano easily, you know, go back up to that all-time high that it's had and maybe even double that up. I still don't think that Cardano breaks above $10 this bull run, but you know, I'm here for it, right? Let's let it go. But the point being, I'm heavy right now on US cryptos with tremendous amounts of utility that also don't have their ETFs live. You have ETFs live for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and some basket ETFs have started to come about. But really, the big unlock here is on the cryptos that haven't had any ETF exposure yet. You have the opportunity right now to front run all of those inflows that are going to come into these altcoins through the ETFs. Now, if it's like Ethereum, the ETFs, the demand for the Ethereum ETFs hasn't been there, which is why Ethereum has not gone up to a new all-time high, even though it has an ETF live, and multiple ETFs live. So that's a project that we obviously don't want to be in. We want to be into these assets like XRP that have significant demand from institutions and people that are going to invest through the ETF products. And when you have JP Morgan putting out conservative predictions of 4 to 8 billion of inflows into the XRP ETFs year one, that's going to equate to a higher price of XRP. It's just simple math. So love to see it. Love to see it. Let's continue here. BNY Melon. This is a partnership long in the making. For the OGs in the community, we've been watching these partnerships since 2016, 17, 18. A lot of NDAs covered all this up, and now it's being unveiled for everybody to see. Right on schedule here, Ashley Prosper. They told us nearly 10 years ago. Some of us paid attention, but others still can't see it. Some folks are still on the struggle bus, and we try to reach out and extend a hand, pull them back up, get them on board the train, get them on board the ship. I find it interesting that Brad Garlinghouse keeps on mentioning that the headwinds have shifted to tailwinds, right? Referencing, obviously, riding out the storm on the ship, right? On the sailboat, which it's interesting because you got all these riddles in the Perseverance ship, right? I got some of them behind me on the merch. I find it interesting, right? That in the Perseverance bearable guy picture, on one top corner of the picture, you're underneath the storm, and then on the other side, you got clear blue skies ahead. And I just find it so interesting that Brad Garlinghouse keeps on using that reference, that the headwinds have shifted into tailwinds, almost like they've been trying to tell us all along. BNY Melon, now the chosen custodian for RLUSD collateral, they are one of the oldest and the largest custody bank in America, going all the way back basically to the founding fathers, with 50 trillion assets under management. The partnership goes further, though, with BNY Melon. Matthew Mellon, he was one of the heirs of the Mellon fortune. He actually made $1 billion on his XRP bet, and he had an untimely passing after he had distributed a bunch of XRP in cold wallets all throughout the country. Pretty incredible story. We've talked about it in the past, but the partnership with BNY Mellon goes deep, and it just is to reiterate the point. How were we able, folks are going to ask us, how did you have conviction to buy XRP for 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, while it was under 50 cents, all this FUD, it wasn't going anywhere? And it'll be an easy answer because we'll say, well, we weren't distracted by today's price. We were focused on the partnerships, the utility, the addressable market being in the quadrillions of dollars. Looking at this situation with conservative assumptions and simple math, we knew it was going to be a life-changing opportunity. It was just a matter of how big of a life-changing opportunity was it going to be, right? How well can we play it? And that's why I'm honing in right now on my exit strategy, the reallocation that I'm going to be doing during this bull run. I'm honing in all that right now because we're about to be moving quickly. As I titled this episode, XRP to a conservative $7 to $15. We're going to talk about that here shortly. You got mainstream media coverage. Here's CNBC. XRP rises after Ripple selects BNY Melon as custodian of firm's new stablecoin. More and more coverage of XRP. Crypto Eddie gets a screenshot here of the inflows, this is the volume by currency. And what you'll notice here is that the Korean won is the second highest volume out of all of the currencies. You have USDT is still in the number one spot, accounting for 34% of the trading of XRP. And so, by the way, when Tether does go bust, we will have a minimal amount of exposure to that situation. If Tether does go bust, I still think that they have some troubles. Speaking of headwinds, I think that Tether has significant headwinds. But that's an issue for Tether and Bitcoin and the other assets that are heavily reliant on USDT trading. Right now, XRP, 34% of the trading is accounted for in USDT, but that is ready to shift over towards US dollar, RLUSD, and you're seeing the Korean won here, 20% of the XRP volume right now coming out of Korea. Absolutely massive. Speaking of Korea, this is a screenshot that Chad Steingraber had grabbed earlier today. Upbit inflows, you're looking at the 1 hour inflows on Upbit were over 231 million. Volume in that 1 hour period was about 705 million. Just a massive amount of volume and inflows coming in through the Korean exchange Upbit. All week since July 7th, the Korean exchange Upbit has been producing some truly remarkable XRP trading numbers within small time periods. It continues with nearly 2 billion in volume in less than an hour. The rest of the heat map is gone. What you're looking at here is the heat map, and I'm going to show you the CoinGlass is the website that Chad's pulling this from. I'm going to show you this website here next, but this screenshot right here shows in a 1 hour period, the volume on Upbit approaching $2 billion. That is staggering volume. And really, it has been this exchange Upbit in Korea that has kept this rally going. I'm going to show you the order books and the inflows right now. And it's actually shocking because despite today we actually had a negative outflow. So we did not have positive inflows today. When you combine the two together, inflows and outflows, we actually had a negative flow day, net outflows today. But despite that, because there was such aggressive buying and the velocity of the inflows was so dramatic, the price was still able to go up. See, when I was doing this XRP market cap multiplier analysis, I did it over a 30-day period. This was during November. And so I took when you're doing, science, or, you're doing statistics, right? You want to get a data sample size that's, going to give you enough data that you can actually have something to analyze. And so what I did is, after we started to watch this order book, I took the inflows and the outflows for 30 days, beginning right around the election all the way through December. And what it showed us is that on actually about, I think it was 10 of those days, on 10 of those days, the net flow did not match price action, meaning that there was days where there was actually net outflows, but the price still went up. And there was days where there was actually, I don't think there was any days where the price went down despite positive inflows. But there was over 10 days where price went up despite there being net outflows. How does that happen? It's because there's such aggressive buying of XRP. People are just willing to bid it up. So we went from 240 to 257 here to, over the past 24 hours. That's just aggressive buying and bidding up that order book. And yeah, some people are selling. Those people are going to get wrecked. I don't know what the heck they're doing. But we're looking, I mean, here's the CoinGlass website right here. And you can see in a 24-hour period, you have the volume on this side. The left side's the volume. And then over on the right side, you have the net inflow. So you see that even on Upbit, this is the Korean exchange that has accounted for most of this rally. Despite today's price action going up, even on Upbit, there was still 13 million of outflows. Kraken had 8 million inflows. OKX had 6.83 million outflows. Coinbase went positive. Gemini and Bitstamp all went positive with about 5 million in inflows. Bybit still had outflows of 4.73. When you scroll on down here, here's the total of all of the exchanges. And you can see right here, July 10th, 2025, the net flow was negative 8.31. So despite today's price action to the upside, and if I go back to the XRP price chart, where did we go? We went all the way from, we closed off yesterday at 240, and we closed off today at 250, basically 255. We went all the way up to 257. So you're talking about 15 or 7, about 15 to 17 cents of price increase on XRP, even though there was more selling from a net flow standpoint than there was buying. It's pretty incredible to watch this. And this is why I dropped an update earlier today, about 3-4 hours ago. And I titled the XRP Rally Not Finished was the title of the episode. And the reason why I said that is because of what I'm seeing right here on these order books. We are seeing net outflows, yet the market is still getting bid up. XRP price is still getting bid up because the velocity of money coming in is faster than the money going out, even though the money going out is more than the money coming in. Hopefully that's not too confusing. And when I took that data sample over 30 days and I saw that, I said, wow, that's an anomaly. The first time I saw it, the second time, the third time I saw it. And then I saw it over, 10 times. I said, wait, something's happening here. And unless somebody else can explain it to me, the only thing that I can think of that explains how this is happening is just the sheer velocity and the aggressiveness of the buyers. They're coming in with market orders, and they're just throwing money at these exchanges. And these exchanges, well, they're going to hit you on a little bit of slippage too, especially when you're market buying. And so it's just getting bid up aggressively. And that's how this is happening. Now, let's continue on here because there's still some more that I wanted to show you guys here, but let's watch this. So if you go back, you probably can't see this. Let me see. Oh, I don't want to mess this up here. How did where's our charts? Okay, right here. This is the one that I want to show you guys right here. Okay, so now you can kind of see this zoomed in. July 10th, that was today. Today has concluded. Basically what happens is 8 p.m. Eastern is when the trading day ends right now. That's midnight universal time. So because crypto's 24/7, 365, we print the daily candles and they close off at midnight UTC, which is 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, my time. So the day has already closed off. So now we can take a look at July 10th's inflows, and it was negative 8.31. We go back yesterday, July 9th, we only had a net inflow of 283,000. So despite yesterday, when we went from 231 to 240, almost a 10-cent jump, we only had a net inflow of less than 300,000. See, the point that I'm trying to get across to you guys is when this market actually turns bullish all the way, when people stop being in disbelief, when people stop trying to short this rally and they finally give in and say, okay, when people realize that we're not going back to $2 XRP, when people realize that you will never buy XRP under $1 again, you very well could never be buying XRP under $2 again. That's when people are going to ape in. This is a very, very critical level right here at the 250 to 260 level. Right around 250, it starts to approach. See, you flip over you cross the Rubicon at 250, and then the next big psychological number that people are thinking about is $3. And this is why so many people that have gotten in over the past 6 months bought in between 240 and 260. Really about 230 to 260. There's so many people that bought in at that range because for whatever reason, during the Liberation Day tariffs in April, when we went down to $1.60, everybody was scared to death thinking that we were going back below $1, so they didn't buy. Back here, June 22nd, just, a couple weeks ago, we went down to $1.90. And that was the last big pullback that we had. And that was the bottom. And then we've just rallied ever since, up over 60 cents. And I'm laughing at people in the comments. Well, what are you getting all excited about? A few cent pump. A few cent pump. Zoom out on your chart just a few days. Just from June 22nd to where we're at today, we've rallied 60 cents. And tell me that you missed the XRP long play without telling me you missed the XRP long play. Because if you are long XRP like we are, with just a little bit of leverage, every few cents makes a difference. And especially for those that have picked up big bags of XRP, every few cents does make a big difference to your overall net worth. But what I'm showing you with this order book analysis is that this run, it hasn't even started really. Like, we really have not turned all the way bullish yet. From an inflow perspective, this thing, if it wasn't for Korea, I don't know where we'd be at right now. But to this level that we're at right now is where FOMO starts to kick in. Because folks, oh crap, I can pick up here at 250. I better pick up now at 250 because we're moving towards $3. And that's a huge psychological level. Huge psychological level. So the FOMO hasn't even started yet. Back to the order book inflows. The last big positive day that we had was July 8th, when we had 27 million of net inflows. So yesterday, 283,000, that's nothing. And today we actually had outflows of 8.31 million. Just wait till we start seeing days where we get, 30 to 50 million in inflows consistently, right? And this can happen without ETFs. Right now, I think that you're watching mostly retail, but I do think that some institutions are starting to move on XRP through that exchange over in Korea. I don't think that that's all retail volume over there. Over 2 billion traded in a 1 hour period over on Upbit. That's not retail. That's some institutions that are dipping their toes in the water. Now, speaking of inflows, this is Nate Garassi, ETF expert. Spot Bitcoin ETFs have now eclipsed 50 billion net inflows since inception. That's 50 billion. net inflows. So that includes all of the outflows. That includes 23 billion of outflows from the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. $140 billion category overall. Historic numbers being posted. Now, I commented and I retweeted them and I said, the market is not pricing in similar inflows coming into XRP. The market's not pricing in even a fraction of those inflows coming into XRP. Because if they were, then everybody would be loading up and would be loading up with conviction that XRP was going to be going to 10, 20, and 30 bucks. Because that's where we will be going based off of if we just get a fraction of those inflows. Once again, net inflows for the Bitcoin ETFs, 50 billion after 18 months. If we get even 10, 20 billion of net inflows after a year, it's a double-digit XRP. But like I said, the market's not pricing it in because if you go look at the sentiment on X, it hasn't been that hot. Hopefully the vibes are back now. I'm here to celebrate tonight. I hope you guys are ready to party tonight. We're going to get to your guys' Q&A after we got just a couple more data points to cover, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A. When you look at the order books, right, you know, it's one thing to just take sentiment off of X. It's one thing to take sentiment off of listening to Spaces, reading all of my YouTube comments, which I do. It's another thing to actually back it up with data on the order books, and we can see that. A day where XRP rallied up to 257 from 240, a 17-cent swing, and we still had 8 million of outflows. That's an impressive feat. And what's happening now is that people are coming in late, and the FOMO is just now beginning with open interest, and this is the futures. I've been talking about the futures market. A lot of people had to wait. They had to wait for confirmation. We didn't need to wait for confirmation. We loaded up, doubled up, and tripled up on our XRP long position back towards $2. But now, after folks get a little bit more comfortable, they want to see everybody else get. Everybody else is getting in. Oh, you're comfortable getting in? Okay, I'll dip my toes in too. We dove right in without even thinking about it. We dove right in, got back out, and then we figured out, how do I go get some more money to double down and triple down again? We saw the opportunity come. We dove right in. We didn't even think about it. You guys jumping in or not? See you later. Dived right in. Got back out. Went and got more money. Brought it back. Doubled up. Tripled up. And now you see it fly. And now the masses and the retail traders and the dumb money hasn't even started to really pour in yet. But I'm seeing guys like Crypto, right? Big mainstream crypto guys are now long XRP again. They're bragging about, they got a $2 million XRP long. And I got to give these guys credit because Crypto, he's got big bags, man. I ain't trading bags like he is. So I got to give credit where credit's due. I got a better entry. on my XRP long, but I didn't throw two big ones down. 2 million. So, you got guys like that are now coming around showcasing how they're making money on the XRP long. You got open interest nearing 100 million. And we haven't seen this actually since August of 2023. Traders are piling in as volatility spikes with yields on short-term contracts drawing in speculators and yield hunters. The FOMO rally is just now beginning. Zach should open up a church, LOL, rich evangelical. You're funny. Loves to sell. I love to sell what I believe in. 100%. Not going to shy away from that at all. I can sell what I believe in all day long. From the time the sun comes up till the sun comes down, I can sell what I believe in without stopping. That's not a problem. We do it every single day. And there's a lot more. But guys, this is the part that you've been waiting for. This is it. And I see some super chats coming in. God bless all of you guys. Thank you so much for the support. We will make sure that we answer every single one of the super chats tonight. I'll try to get to your guys' comments and questions as well too. But I'm going to go back through the super chats after I cover my next 2 points, which is the title of tonight's episode. I made you wait around for 45 minutes till I gave you the secret sauce, the what you've been waiting for all night. $7 to $15 XRP. Let me know in the comments down below if you don't even care about $7 to $15 XRP. I'm just curious. Who here in the chat couldn't care less about a $7 to $15 XRP? I'm just curious. Because I know, and this is why XRP is going to pump so hard, by the way. So many people are only here for $100 and $1,000 and $10,000 XRP. So many people are never going to sell their XRP, which is exactly why XRP is going to rip so much. Is because so many of our bag holders are literally going to hold the bag. I am too. I'm not knocking that. Don't think for a second that I'm knocking that. That's the strength of our community. You got guys like me that, yeah, I'm going to sell a little sliver. Made some XRP off trading some memes. I might, cash out that. My long-term holdings might, shave off a little bit. And then you got all these other guys in the community that aren't going to sell anything. But who here in the chat doesn't care about $7 to $15 XRP? See, look at the chat. Not selling, forever, don't care, never selling. That's why our community is so strong. See, people don't realize this. They make fun of us, but it's actually our strength. That there's so many people that are going to hold the bag. We are not going to sell. Here it is, the moment that you've all been waiting for. I want to give a shout out to Waters Above Crypto. I'm going to show a clip from his most recent YouTube video. I was watching that today. He's really only one of a few TA guys that I actually do respect. And I will watch his content from time to time. Waters Above. But here first, I'm going to show you X-Force Global real quick. Hey, cheers, everybody. Thank you for stopping by. If you haven't already, let's make sure that we like this one. Help us out by sharing it out far and wide. This is the $7 to $15 XRP. Here's the main course ready to serve it up to you guys, okay? Cheers. Here we are. This is X-Force Global. Now, the reason why I like to share his work is because he's actually based out of South Korea. So he provides that perspective that we don't get in kind of the US-based XRP community echo chamber, right? It's nice to actually hear, and obviously I'm not just saying that XRP community is just in the United States, but primarily driven here, the conversation. And so it's nice to get a different perspective. X-Force Global brings it because he's in South Korea. He sees it. And I've heard him on Spaces talk about how they love XRP over there. But he says things might start to get really crazy and parabolic for XRP very soon. It could really happen at any moment. And I just wanted to show you his Elliott waves and where he has XRP moving up here. He has XRP moving up. This is $5, $5.50. And he has this taking place. It looks like he has us finishing this wave 3 up here into October. But he has us going up to really a new all-time high, it looks like, in September. So he has a new all-time high for us by September. And that's not over. That's not done with. We continue to the upside after that. Kind of an extended Elliott wave there. Okay, so that's very conservative. Now let's step it up one more notch and let's get a little bit more bullish. What do you guys say? Okay, I'm going to play this clip from Waters Above Crypto. I had him on the show a couple months ago. He says his title of his video was "This XRP breakout will be epic." But I'm going to play this clip where he talks about his conservative prediction. The conservative one is a $7 to $8 XRP by the end of August into the beginning of September. And he says by like end of August up until September 7th, I believe, there's a lunar eclipse. A full blood moon lunar eclipse. the moon, the stars will all align with an XRP at a conservative $7 to $8. But the more, a little bit more bullish expectation is a $15 XRP. Okay, I'm going to run this clip. You guys listen in. Here's waters above.
Well, depending on how this shakes out, my conservative outlook is expecting at least a $7 to $8 XRP in the initial move that's completed by the August new moon on August 23rd, leading into the September total lunar eclipse on September 7th that I referenced earlier. That's my conservative, but please don't stop listening right now and quote me on that.
I'm going to fulfill his wish there. I'm not going to just stop the clip right there. He said, don't clip me up right there and stop. Okay, continue listening. So I'm going to let him finish off this thought here. Listen closely, but he just laid it out. Conservatively, we're going to $7 to $8 by August 23rd to September 7th. On the high side, a little bit more aggressive, we would be looking at a $15 XRP. Let's let him continue.
Please pay attention. Again, this is my conservative outlook. Whilst my more moderate to aggressive, or I'll say aggressive short-term outlook would be seeing this entire move completed within the month of August and for the breakout to be noticeable later in this month of July. And that would be very similar to the way the fractal is drawn out. And that price target still stands at $15 at the higher end of the range and at least $10 in the month of August. And remember, the way this move plays out has everything to do with Bitcoin dominance and Bitcoin breaking out into price discovery, just like I told everyone back when XRP was 40 cents and everyone was telling me I was wrong because apparently updates in the SEC case would be what sends XRP into the $2 range or $3 level. And
now he goes on to say how he hasn't expected the XRP lawsuit to impact price, and everything that's come from the XRP lawsuit has been short-lived. It really has. The final conclusion, though, I do think is a big deal from, kind of a more zoomed out perspective. It's like the day the case ends, are we going to pump straight to $8? Probably not how it's going to play out, but it is going to align with his analysis. And this is why I like listening to Waters Above. It's a little bit different. I know some of you guys might be thinking that this is crazy, woo-woo. Why is this guy mentioning the moon, the lunar eclipse and all this? Well, the old quote, the old saying goes that millionaires don't study astrology, billionaires do. So take that for what it's worth, and I think it's actually worth something, because when I can combine his analysis from a TA standpoint, from an esoteric standpoint, with news in the real world, events in the real world that I know are coming, and I get that convergence, now you know why I sleep like a baby in my XRP long position right now, right? With a big bag of XRP. But guys, he lays out the case there for a $7 to $15 XRP by the end of August into the beginning of September. But then he notes, if we do see a, I think he called it like a, what do you call it? 2 phases to the end of the bull run, like we saw in, I don't know if it was the 2021 or 2017 bull run. I'm kind of just trying to paraphrase. You guys can watch this whole video if you guys want to check it out. But basically the long and the short of it is, if we do see a full extension and a full completion of the 4-year cycle, it would top Bitcoin out once again in November and December. And that would happen after Bitcoin rallies up to about 130,000, has a pullback, I think he said under 100,000, and then one final blow off top. That's when you would see that rotation. But in the meantime, that rally up to 130, and then it cools off. That's where XRP would be up. I mean, he's talking about Bitcoin going up to that level potentially by the end of August into September, and XRP would be following along. It would just be at $7 to $15. Then we could expect a pullback from there. But if we follow the previous cycles, that would not be the end of the bull run. We would then have another wave up. And this actually matches up with the Elliott wave that we just saw from X-Force Global. And so, and you play around with this, you got, they're more sophisticated TA, matching up with my doofus moron TA, right? The Elliott waves match up with the fractals. They match up with the fibs. They match up with my doofus moron TA. And it matches up with our analysis of real world events like the lawsuit dropping, ETFs going live, stablecoin legislation, market structure bill, big beautiful bill, a trust charter, and a Fed master account for Ripple, amongst other partnerships that will be going live, amongst EVM sidechain going live and now crossing over 100 million in daily cross-chain volume. Do I need to continue? Do you want more catalysts for XRP to the upside? I think that you guys get the point. And now we get to hone in on the targets. And we get to ask ourselves, what are we going to do with our XRP at $7 to $8, at a $15 XRP? And then he goes on to say, if we do get the typical 4-year cycle conclusion, 2 phases to the end of the bull run, we would see Bitcoin do a blow off top, and that's where XRP would carry up above $20. Later in the video, he mentions, though, that he expects that blow off top above $20 for XRP to only last about 48 hours. And I wish I had pulled it up in the video. I'm not going to find it now. But he actually showed what happened after XRP topped out in January of 2018. It was only like a week later that it had dropped by 50%. And over the next month, it dropped about 70%. Folks, I want to finish this thought here, and then I want to open it up for Q&A, because I've been seeing some people talk about maybe the bear market's canceled. And we really have to hone in on our expectations, definitions, and context behind bull markets, bear markets, trading traditional assets like stocks, bonds, mutual funds versus crypto. Because we have a distorted reality over in crypto. For us, folks can make a 5x or a 10x and still not be satisfied in crypto. Folks could go through a drawdown. I mean, we've seen this all the time in crypto, where you could draw down 20% in a day, which would be a technical bear market by the traditional, market standpoints and definition. A 20% move in either direction is classifying a bull run or a bear market in the traditional markets. In crypto, we can do 20% in a day. So when I frame that context around, is the bear market canceled for XRP, I want you to understand that, yes, I do believe that we're not going to have some long drawn out 4-year bear market where XRP goes back down to $1 or $2. I'm waiting to see how high XRP goes, and then I'm going to determine where our new floor price could be at. And I do want to say that I think that we will get a strong 50% pullback or more off of those highs. So for example, if XRP does go up to $30 and tops out up there, I do think that we will see a sharp sell-off that could be 40 or 50%, maybe more, bringing it back down to $15. And I want you to run through that. What is your portfolio going to look like? What is your net worth going to look like? Some of you guys, what are those conversations going to be like with your significant other? Maybe your significant other doesn't know about your crypto. I know some of you guys are in that camp. I've talked to many, husbands and wives alike, that have hidden how much they've invested in crypto. And you're waiting for that day where you can tell them, hey, honey, I did a thing. Honey, I did a thing. And what I worry about is folks go do that on the day when XRP, we have a 48-hour stint up above 20 or $30. And then we get this sharp pullback, but you go and you tell honey, I did a thing when XRP's up at 20 and $30. And how much did you invest? And you tell her, well, I threw 50,000. I threw, $500,000. I threw a few million at this XRP thing. God bless it. Good luck with that conversation. Hopefully it should go over. But what I'm worried about is you'll tell her, I invested $1 million. Now our portfolio is worth 10 million. But in the event of XRP going back from 30 down to $15, your portfolio went up to 10 million. could be right back down to 5 million in 48 hours. And I've spoken to so many people, whether it be in our Discord calls, one-on-ones, etc., that have those big of bags. And then even for, it's all relative. So even for folks that have smaller bags, right? This will be the first $10,000 you ever made. This will be the first $50,000, $100,000 you've ever made in your life. For some folks, that is going to happen. And so I want folks to be prepared because it looks like we are here. We are honing in right now on the date. We are honing in right now on the price prediction. And it is absolutely a life-changing opportunity for everybody who's willing to take advantage of it. Whether you're that guy that, your portfolio is going to be going up into the millions, or whether you're that person that's going to make $100,000 for the first time. Everybody in between. I really want us to run through this. I want you to be prepared. Spiritually, mentally, financially, physically. It's going to be a roller coaster ride. To finish off the point, though, will we get a typical bear market? As long as we have the Federal Reserve, we have tracked a liquidity cycle that goes back over 40 years. So when a lot of people talk about the crypto 4-year cycle, they don't understand that it's actually part of a bigger liquidity cycle that has nothing to do with crypto. Some of us live in a crypto echo chamber and all we live, breathe, and sleep is crypto. And we think that, that's all that's happening. But there's actually a liquidity cycle that goes back over 40 years. And we are on the uptick of that. But as long as we have the Federal Reserve and we have the manipulation of our monetary policy, I actually expect us to continue having that 4-year cycle. But in regards to cryptocurrency, I do think that we will have pullbacks. And if you had a 50% pullback on XRP, that would be a technical bear market, right? If XRP goes down 20%, 50%, that's a bear market by any definition. But does it mean that it's going to be a long, drawn-out deal? No, I don't think so. And just as fast as XRP tops out and then rolls back over, I think that XRP is going to catch a floor price. Whatever the catalyst is going to be. Maybe that's when the alien invasion comes, right? In 2028, 2029, right? We bottom out before we start the next bull run. And the bottom is marked by the alien invasion or something like that. I don't know. I'm just throwing out something crazy, right? But I do believe that we will see a drawdown. Will it be the typical bear market that we've seen in the past? No. I do believe that institutional adoption and the inflows from the ETF disrupt that. Now, will it be enough to stop XRP from going up to 20 or 30 bucks, coming back down to 10 or 15? No. I still think that happens because there's going to be a lot of selling taking place. Despite all the people that will be holding their XRP, myself included, I'm going to be holding on to most of my XRP. I will be selling a little bit. And I know that there's people that are going to sell more than me. I know there's people that are going to sell less than me. I'm already going into this moment anticipating that I don't need to time out the top. I don't need to be the greediest guy on the block here and absolutely tick the top of the chart and maximize every last dollar that we make. We got to celebrate how great of a return this is going to be in the middle of a recession, and in the middle of Main Street economy struggling so much, in the middle of a bull run for traditional markets that we are far outpacing over in the cryptocurrency space. We need to celebrate this. But while we celebrate this rally, I also believe that we need to hone in on our exit strategy, on how we're going to reallocate. We need to understand what our limits are, what our trading fees are. I encourage everybody to set up on multiple platforms. I'm not going to tell you that, you have to move all your crypto to Uphold or Caleb and Brown or this platform or that platform or whoever's going to, give me a shill check. I don't accept shill checks. All I've been saying this whole time is have options. And so what I'm going to show you today is set up your options. Have yourself set up on multiple exchanges. If you're going to cash out, if you're looking to just trade, you could do that all from the XRP Ledger DEX if you wanted to. If you don't want to use exchanges or brokers or any of that, you want to self-custody and just trade using the DEX, God bless you. I'm going to do that too. I'm set up on Coinbase, Uphold, Caleb and Brown, and then I'm also going to be set up on the DEX. Multiple interfaces, multiple wallets. I'm giving myself the most opportunities to execute my game plan. And that's what I'm going to show you on tonight, is get your plan intact and have yourself with multiple options. And if you cannot set limit orders on your platform, you might need to move some XRP to a platform where you can set limit orders. Okay? Now, at this point, let's open it up for Q&A. Thank you, everybody, for hanging around here. We went just over an hour on the update. I appreciate you for stopping by. Let me know what you guys think about a $7 to $15 XRP, and let's start doing some Q&A, okay? Let's start rapid fire, and we'll go with the super chats to get the party started. Cheers, everybody. Reckless gives us a 2 spot. Holding even at $15. And see, that's what I'm saying. God bless you guys. We got so many people that are going to hold the bag. They ain't touching it. And that's why XRP is ready to fly. Chosen One Collecting. Thank you. Looking at the market, how are rates not cut? LMAO. Well, because inflation's ticking back up. So if they were serious about fighting inflation, they would have actually raised rates. They would have done so last year when inflation started to tick back up massively. They actually would have raised rates further. But they're not serious about fighting inflation. They just want to keep it in check enough that there's not riots and pitchforks in the streets. So they don't care about losing all credibility. They're backed into a corner now, and no matter what they do, it's not going to save the day. Yeah. But it's interesting to note that we've already done so well on this rally without rates being cut, without conditions easing. And when that does happen, it's going to allow everybody to breathe a sigh of relief. Okay, I can restructure my debt. I can restructure my credit card. I can restructure my business loan. I can restructure my home equity line of credit. I can, get out of whatever situation you're in, right? Because the rates are going to be coming back down. When that happens, we will be in full-blown bull run. TK, thank you for the 10 spot. It's been a minute, but I appreciate everything you've done and your content for the community over the last 4 years, Zach. Thank you. TK, I appreciate you, my friend. God bless you. Reckless Redneck with another 3 spot. Thank you. 3 Diglets, 10 spot. Let's pump this Shiite coin. Which one are we talking about? What's the ticker? What's the ticker? You tell me. I know some of you guys got a bag of crap. I know I got some bags of crap. Let me tell you what. Reckless, thank you for the 10 spot. Hopefully no capital gains tax, at least for US-based crypto. Yeah. If we're going to become the crypto capital of the world, it has to be done. Has to be done. Katie will go. Thank you for the 5 spot. God bless you. Dennis, 5 spot. Ripple Fed Reserve Master Account is what Mark Yusko meant when he indicated the XRP ordered as the bank base layer on Good Morning Crypto. Lean in, lock in, strap in, grab your loved ones, get them on board. Big deal. Big deal. Gotta be XRP. Thank you for the 20 spot, brother. Good to see you, Greg. Cover my Schmeckles post you reposted, and I'll send you 200 Schmeckles. I want all your viewers not to miss this one. Gotta be. I can't shill, bro. I can't do. That'd be like a sponsored post. You know, then everybody would be able to say, oh, Zach took a sponsorship. He took a check from Schmeckles. Even though I know you're not affiliated with Schmeckles. I know that's, what is it, James's project. I picked up a bag of Schmeckles. I'll tell you what, Greg, I'll show you the post, but you're not sending me Schmeckles, okay? I'll show you the post, but you're not sending me your Schmeckles. I don't want your Schmeckles, Greg. I want Greg to be singing Tennessee Whiskey at the Cat's Meow in XRP Las Vegas for another great karaoke session with the XRP family, Greg. That's what I want. I don't want your Schmeckles. I want to see another performance of Tennessee Whiskey with me, holding my loved one swaying back and forth with the XRP family. Okay, Greg? And I want the Cat's Meow to get their AC on again, okay? We were in Vegas this year. Cat's Meow didn't have their AC rolling, and so we about died in there. I had to get out of there. Got a little too hot. We were cooked. Okay? So we need Cat's Meow to get AC, and we need Greg fire it up with some Tennessee whiskey, okay? Here you go, Greg. So I retweeted Greg and I said, I picked up a bag so I don't miss the run this time around. These are OG XRP meme coins. Schmeckles and Zoj. They were way ahead of their time, really. And so I picked up a bag of both. Greg says, this is not financial advice. These are just facts. 454,000 circulating supply. Literally 1/46th of the supply of Bitcoin. I didn't even realize that there's that few tokens of the Schmeckles. That's crazy. That's kind of making me want to go buy some more, honestly. Just under 1 XRP in value. Due to the low supply and committed community, it runs with XRP because they all know what they hold. And that's like a lot of these meme coins. Is there a great way to hedge XRP? Because when XRP is appreciating against the dollar, then your meme coin, which trades against XRP, is also appreciating. When your meme coin is appreciating against XRP, you're also making money, right? And so that's why I like some of these meme coin plays, is you get that ROI paid back to you when you cash out back into XRP. So you're flipping your XRP bag. That's what makes these fun for me. Remember what happened to XRP Ledger tokens in 2021 after the XRP bull run? History repeats itself. And here's the chart on Schmeckles. Yeah, it does look like it's broke out. That's Schmeckles against XRP on the daily. Yeah, it does look like it's broken out there. Nice. Nice. Awesome. Thank you, Greg. I'm not going to accept your Schmeckles, but I am expecting another performance at Cat's Meow next year at Vegas, okay? And maybe I'll get up on stage there. We were gonna do something. Me, Greg, and Tyler. Tyler from Ty Project. He's the one that helps me with the dog tags. By the way, we got the dog tags back in stock on the website. More merch on the way too. Stay tuned for that. Guy Francisco, thank you for the 5 spot. Dennis, thank you for the 2 spot. Zach, have you looked at NAK today? I looked at it yesterday, Dennis. It's been running. Yeah, you got a nice pick there with that Northern Dynasty Minerals. It's a nice pick on the mineral stocks. Yeah, I didn't see it today, but it's been rolling. Shima, 40 ounce. Thank you for the $2.58. He says, LOL, she doesn't know. See, I know a lot of you guys. I know a lot of you guys have been hiding. Honey, don't worry. I did a little thing. It's actually been funny because it goes both ways. I'm also talking to some gals that said, oh yeah, I haven't told my husband about all this XRP I bought. I think, oh God bless you. Yeah. If it doesn't, if it doesn't go over well, at least you'll be able to afford a counselor or something like that, huh? If they don't take it to, which they should. Yeah. Good luck with that one. Los Pino Outdoors, thank you. What are your thoughts with Atomic Brokerage on Uphold for 4.5% return? Yeah, I don't know what you mean by Atomic. That's where I plan on making, 4 or 5% on my RLUSD. So the XRP that I have on Uphold, I'm leaving it there, even though I'm not thrilled with how Uphold has been handling liquidity and slippage, etc. Not really thrilled with how they've been handling that. But despite that fact, I am going to keep some XRP on Uphold. And I'm going to sell some XRP on Uphold into RLUSD, where I'll be earning 5% on the RLUSD, and then I have access to go right back into XRP whenever I want. So yeah, that's my plan, and I think that that's great. I think that that's a real sustainable return because the RLUSD is backed by treasuries, and then Uphold's just juicing that a little bit. I forget I can check what the yield is right now. If they're backing it by a 3-month treasury or even like a 2-year treasury. Let's go bonds. The 10-year right now is at 4.3%. The 2-year is at 3.8%. The 3-month is at 4.3%. So let's just say that they're backing it with 3-month treasuries bills. They're making a consistent guaranteed 4.3% from the treasury, and then Uphold's going to cover the spread from 4.3% to 5%. They're just juicing that a little bit as an incentive to get you to hold RLUSD on their platform. And by the way, they're not the first, they're not going to be the last that are going to be competing for your business, for you to hold your RLUSD or to hold your XRP on their platform. This is just starting. The yield wars. The yield wars are just beginning. And so Uphold right now, I think it's 5% on your RLUSD. They just rolled out the cards are going to be coming back. They rolled out the direct deposit. So if you direct deposit to their platform, you can earn some XRP on that too, I believe, or something like that. So they're offering some incentives to use their platform. And I think that if you do that in the right way, like, am I conducting all of my trading on Uphold right now? God, no. No, I'm not. Most of my trading is actually happening off of Uphold right now. But that's not to say that Uphold's not going to have good products. And this is why I say have options. Like, I'm on Coinbase for futures. I'm on Coinbase to trade other coins. I'm on Uphold to trade, to accumulate, to get yield on RLUSD. I'm on Caleb and Brown for institutional grade custody, personalized brokerage service. And I think that they're going to be the best at finding me liquidity. I think that it's going to be Coinbase and Caleb and Brown are going to be the best sources for liquidity when it does come to taking some action. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to send another bag of XRP to Caleb and Brown, just to be honest with you guys, because this is XRP that I've made from the meme coins. And so as I rack it up, as soon as I get to a certain threshold, I send all of that XRP to Caleb and Brown, and then I just shut down that wallet. Because I know that some of you guys are trying to track me down, and you ain't going to find me. So I run up a wallet, drop it, send all of the XRP to Caleb and Brown, and then, start back over with another one. So I have all of these different exchanges and brokerage firms. I'm using the DEX. I'm also looking at the AMM. The way that I'm going to play the AMM is going from depositing XRP into the XRP RLUSD liquidity pool when XRP tops out, and then allowing the AMM liquidity pool to dollar cost average back in to XRP for me as XRP comes down and RLUSD appreciates against XRP. That's how the AMM pools work. And so, like I said, I got exchanges, brokerage firms. I mean, for crying out loud, I minted my first NFT on the XRP ledger. And I was thinking to myself, this was yesterday, right? Yeah, yesterday was the Joey mint. And it was a free mint. Our community was whitelisted. So anybody in my community that wanted to get a free NFT was able to. One of our community members was actually able to flip his NFT for 88 XRP within like 30 minutes of getting it. And I mean, that's over $200 that he got for free. That was just one of our community members. And so this is why I encourage you guys to kind of get active and just be aware of what's taking place in XRP DeFi. Yeah, the memes are stupid or silly. Yes, the NFTs are stupid or silly for the most part. But watch the activity, observe it, understand how to use the DEX, and understand, all these new DeFi platforms that are going to come about, where they're generating the yield from. You can compare that against the AMM, and then you can determine what's going to be the best path forward for you. Maybe you don't want to be a full-blown degen, but I can tell you right now that I had a bunch of people in my Discord group yesterday that are not degens, that do not play around with their XRP. But all they had to do was give me an XRP wallet address, and they were able to mint an NFT for free. One of my guys, I saw the NFT. It sold for 88 XRP. Some of these were selling for over 100 XRP yesterday. I don't know what the prices are now. I haven't checked it today. But I was laughing yesterday because I'm thinking to myself, never in a million years did I think that my life would consist of, one, doing crypto content and content on the financial markets full time. But my day-to-day consists here of making my videos, making my content on the news, on the markets, and then I go trade some futures, then I go trade some meme coins, then I go mint an NFT, make a couple $100 there, and then I went and I finished the day. I was listening to some spaces at the end of the day, out in my garden, picking my snap peas and picking my raspberries, and I bring in a big old plate of fresh produce. I'm just thinking, how blessed am I? How great of a life, right? Where I get to do what I love every single day. And I never would have thought in a million years that this is how I would be making money for my family. Minting an NFT, a picture of a baby kangaroo is how. Now, I didn't sell my NFTs, but I did get a cute little one. But that's a little bit of insight into who I am. I'm the type of guy that's trading degens by day, and or trading memes by night, and picking vegetables during the day. I literally, when I leave my office, generally the first thing I do is I get the kids and we go outside. And we go play around, and go have fun. But how did we get here? I'm getting the yield wherever I can. I'm picking snap peas. I got raspberries. Strawberries are finished up. I did plant some cucumbers and pumpkins. Wifey really wants pumpkins too. And so, we're getting it in many different ways. Let's continue here with our super chats, and then I want to open it up for everybody else too. I want to get to everybody. Green Man Wildlife, thank you for the 5 spot. What are your thoughts on Axelar, worth investing in? I did buy a bag. It was a small bag. I think it's worth taking a look at, and I'm planning on dropping my deep dive here for it shortly. To be honest with you guys, nothing does as good as XRP content, and when you have big news for XRP that's been dropping during this last week, that's why I've postponed dropping my Axelar and my Stronghold deep dives, is because the content, it honestly just doesn't do as well. And there's been so much happening for XRP in the broader markets. So I've been focused on that. I have both my Axelar and my Stronghold deep dives ready to go. I'm just waiting for the right time to drop them. But I picked up a bag of Axelar. I think it's definitely worth taking a look at, and I'll drop my deep dive on it here for you guys shortly. Joshua Fix, thank you for the 10 spot. Love your content, bro. You got a solid channel. Joshua, thank you. Your support means the world to me. Thank you. Nova Crypto, thank you for the Canadian funny money. A big 50 spot from you. I appreciate that. Thanks for doing what you do, Zach. You help keep my confidence at an all-time high with my crypto choices. And that's the thing. We try to put together the fundamentals combined with the technical analysis so that folks have a real deep conviction in what we're doing, right? There's a lot of people flying blind. There's people that are talking about, don't worry about price targets. And for some folks, sure, right? If you're just going to hold all of your XRP and all of your other bags of crypto, then yeah, God bless you. Don't worry about, don't even listen to me. Just you go out and live your life. Sure. If you're just going to hold it all, that's great. But for a lot of people, we do need to be strategic about it. We are here for ROI. Unless you just want to listen to your financial advisor, which will tell you, don't worry about ROI. Your ROI's been, keeping up with inflation. Your ROI's, okay, 5 to 10%. Don't worry about it. Just keep your money with me. That's what financial advisors tell you. Financial advisors, they don't worry about it. This is long term. Don't worry about it, my friend. It's okay. Just keep your money with me. Price targets, forget about it. It's okay, man. We're not here for ROI. It reminds me of some of these. I don't even want to talk about it. What do you mean? We're not here for targets. You're playing a different game than me. And like I said, God bless you. If you are here to just accumulate bags and hold them, then that's great. The next move for you is figuring out how you're going to leverage those bags, right? Figuring out how you are going to take loans against them and roll them into new assets and new opportunities. That's what you should be focused on if you're not going to sell the XRP. I'm totally get that. But for the majority of the people, you really should be setting targets, strategies, and a plan to reallocate as things change. You know, I got cryptos that I thought were going to be much further along with adoption, would be, you know, just have a lot more cooking in their ecosystem, and they don't. And that's why I'm going to dump 80 to 90% of my portfolio on some of these altcoins that I hold. I'm not just going to pick up a bag and hold on to that sucker when I'm not seeing growth within their ecosystem. I don't need to name off the tickers. I mean, I'm sure that you guys can imagine what some of those are. You know, some of these, we really believed in them. And then here we are a few years later, and like the team updates us twice a year. You have no idea what's going on. Oh, you went and consulted some people over here. That's great. Who the hell's using your token? And if you're not talking about it, I'm just going to assume that nobody is. Quant. I'll throw out one ticker. Quant, right? I used to think Quant was going to be, I've never held Quant, but that's a good example. You know, you've been consulting, you've been in the build, you've been in the room, you've been doing photo ops and fireside chats. You're ISO compliant. Great. Who is using your token? And when they can't answer that, well, that determines what we're going to do with that bag. Next one. But Nova, I do think that our utility cryptos are going to be some of the best performers, 100%. RT 10 spot, thank you. Thank you. Zach, thank you. I appreciate you. 1970 legend. Oh my goodness. He pulls up with a big 300 spot. He says, give half away in dog tags and keep the other half. Lock in, folks. The long, painful wait is almost over. Legend's getting antsy to do some giveaways again, okay? You got 150 bucks worth of dog tags. What do we sell them at? 30 bucks a pop? Let me make a note, Legend. $150 worth of dog tags. Legend, you're living up to your name every day, brother. We appreciate you so much. You're a true leader in the community. God bless you. You know, and we were talking with Legend and some of the other guys there, Stu, and others have been talking about some giveaways and stuff. And I really want to do more. We just have to make sure that we do it the right way. You wouldn't think that they're so hard to do, but they actually are. There's some things that get in the way. But I will figure out how we can give away those dog tags, Legend, on your behalf. And I appreciate your support once again, brother. Thank you. You're a real one. Silver Shire, thank you for the 5 spot. Would exchanges actually see institutional tokens hitting the ledger, or just them sharing between each other as to their volume? So in the OTC markets, we do not see that activity, right? And that's sometimes referred to as dark pools, OTC markets. We would not see that on the public exchanges. We would not see that on the, we would not see that on the order books. So like the website CoinGlass, the website CoinGlass that I show you guys the order books and the inflows on, we don't get to see the OTC flows on that data set. That's not included. OTC and dark pools, that's all hidden. It's normal in every single other asset class. It's normal with other cryptos. OTC markets and dark pools are a very common thing. It's nothing new for XRP. And so we would not see those flows. Now, one thing that they've done, though, is they have the interoperability between the private ledger and the public ledger. So for an institution that wanted to use Ripple's private ledger, but have the ability to tap into the public ledger at any time, they would have that ability. And so, you can see use cases where they would need to keep, tokenized deposits, internal tokenized deposits would be on the private ledger, but say that institution went to go issue real world assets on the XRP ledger, that's when they would tap into the public blockchain. So I think you will see kind of a merging and a flow kind of back and forth between the two. We will never see OTC markets. We will never see dark pools. They will always stay behind the hidden wall there, basically, So, but at a certain point, there could be a supply shock where the amount of XRP available OTC dries up, is not available. There's only so much out here on the public exchanges. There's only so much that Ripple is going to be willing to part with. And so I know that there's a lot of people that think it's far-fetched to see an XRP supply shock because there's a lot more than Bitcoin. There's a lot more than other cryptocurrencies. But when you look at the addressable market and the use case for XRP, you begin to understand that, wow, they need this at a very high price to be able to facilitate this liquidity. And the only other option would be to have a large amount of tokens. But even if you had tens of billions of tokens, if the price of XRP is not at a much, significantly higher price, you're still not going to be able to handle these flows of liquidity. So that's where we kind of are watching. We're watching to see if at a certain point, if they are forced to kind of come to the secondary markets and the exchanges to get XRP supply. In that event, we would see a dramatic price increase on XRP. Dennis, thank you for the 2 spot. Pick lots of berries in Portland summers as a kid. I was actually meaning to take the family out to some of the berry farms near us. I know that the strawberries are wrapping up, but raspberries are happening right now. The Pacific Northwest where I live is one of the best places for raspberries, blueberries, strawberries. We got great berries up here. In fact, I believe that we grow the most amount of raspberries in the world in my county. Yeah. And I think that we're pretty high up there for blueberries too, actually. Drew, thank you for the 7 spot. How does the launch of FedWire affect XRP? Short term, it doesn't. Long term, I think that FedWire rolling over the new system is a big deal for cryptocurrencies that are going to be used in FedWire. I anticipate that XRP will. Are all 20,000 plus cryptos going to be used in FedWire? No. Are all 20,000 plus cryptos going to be ISO compliant? No. And so that's why we've aligned ourselves with the ones that are going to have ISO compliant messaging standards. The XRP ISO compliance comes from Ripple. It's not XRP itself that's ISO compliant. It's Ripple that is packaging up ISO messaging standard transactions with XRP. And so, FedWire goes live July 14th with ISO 222. That's in 4 days. I don't anticipate that that's going to have a big impact on price. I've actually said that that could be a day of buy the rumor, sell the news. So watch out for that one. Crypto Future, thank you for the 5 spot. Predictions: Cardano $10, XRP 20, XDC 5, Casper 2, VET 3, AVAX 500, HBAR 8. Boy, I'd love to see HBAR at 8. VET at 20, VLO at 3, CRO at 4, and Bitcoin 175. What's yours, Zach? Okay, let me run through real quick. Cardano $10. Yeah, I don't think that it surpasses $10. XRP 20 to $30. Yes. XDC, I do not see $5 for this bull run. I see 40 to 60 cents. Sorry. XDC. I mean, that's one of those projects where I'd like to see more. I see Quincy at Vegas. That's great. I love Quincy. What else is happening in the ecosystem, though? I need more updates from XDC. They got some stuff cooking, but basically every single crypto company is failing in the marketing department as far as I'm concerned, other than Ripple and maybe a couple others. A lot of people are dropping the ball when it comes to marketing. And it's either one of two things. They don't know how to market, or 2, they have nothing good to report. either one's not good. Because if you got good utility, you need to be able to market it. You need to be able to sell. So, and if it's number two, if you have nothing good to report, well, not good either. Shell, thank you for the 30 spot. Appreciate that. That's a big one. Who is Bobby Patriot in this community from Texas? Thanks in advance. Shell, I appreciate that. Shell, thank you. Who is Bobby Patriot? I don't know who Bobby Patriot is. I don't know who Bobby Patriot is. Okay, I've made it through all of the super chats, but I don't want to leave the rest of you guys hanging. So let's go rapid fire Q&A. I'll do another 10 minutes, okay? Let's do 10 more minutes. We have over 10,000 people in the live show with us tonight between YouTube, X, and TikTok. If you guys haven't already, let's make sure that we've subscribed to all three of those platforms. Make sure that you've hit that notification bell so that you don't miss our updates. And we greatly appreciate you for supporting us, whether it just be by sharing the content, using our community resources. It's all available at zachrector.com. If you're tired of hearing me talk about the XRP futures and making money trading futures, I put a lesson linked up down below. If you want to learn how it's done, it's available for $25. You can take advantage of that, or you can get tapped in with our Discord community and, kind of keep an ongoing relationship, which I would highly encourage you guys to get tapped in somewhere. You could, do it all yourself, but having a strong community that's tapped in as to how these markets are moving is going to be very critical, along with having community resources that are going to help you complete your plan, whatever that may be. Now's the time to get tapped in. So get tapped into our Discord group. Join us over there, Patreon, to get access to Discord. All of our XRP community resources available at zachrector.com. Let's go rapid fire. How's everybody doing? Do I teach? Yeah, that trading lesson down below, linked up in the description. That's a basics 101 on how to trade futures, and I also inserted an arbitrage opportunity in there that nobody else is talking about. Any word on Zebek? Yeah, I think that the bottom's in. It bounced back up. Today it did come back down, but I do think that the bottom is in on Zebek. I don't think that Zebek's a scam. I don't think that all of the FUD has been warranted. I've just been watching. I'm on the sidelines now on Zebek, but I don't think that it's done. It rallied all the way up to 0.0037, came back down here to 0.0031, and this is after it came down to my buy targets where I was going to buy in was right here, 0.0025 to 0.003. We came right on down to my targets, but I'm just sitting this one out at this point. I made my trade, wiped my hands clean, and I'm going to let you guys make money on it. Dr. Denise, thank you for the 1111. That's a special number, isn't it? Zach, thank you. What is your plan for your big bag for safety later? Will there be competition with Anchorage or cold storage all the way for you? It's a very good question. My long-term bag is in self-custody. The only place that I would move it to would be institutional grade custody, but I'm not in any rush to move it at this point, right? There's many different options that are going to be coming available for us. Obviously, Caleb and Brown has their platform with Fireblocks. Anchorage has their platform. I did see that apparently you can't set limit orders on Anchorage. I don't know if that's true because I looked it up and it said that institutions can set limit orders on Anchorage, but that's the thing I'm worried about with Anchorage now is how good is their liquidity going to be and how good is their brokerage service going to be. Their security is great. I have no, concerns about that, but I heard that they don't allow limit orders, and so I'm wondering how that process is going to work out. Obviously, if you were just going to hold your bag long term, I think that Anchorage is a great solution. I think that Caleb and Brown with Fireblocks is great too. But personally, I just have mine in my own wallets right now. and that could change down the road. And also as opportunities for yield come about, I will put chunks of my XRP into those, 5%, 10%. I don't plan on putting more than maybe 50% of my XRP bag into any sort of yield generating opportunity, no matter what it be. So about 50% of my bag will always be held in self-custody or by an institutional custody provider at some point. But basically, at this point, you need to be in self-custody or you need to be in institutional grade custody. Right now, I'm using Caleb and Brown, but that's not for my long-term holdings. That's for XRP that I plan on selling this bull run, right? So that's how I'm doing it. Watching though, the yield wars, it has begun. And so we're going to have many opportunities to earn yield on our XRP. I'm very excited about that. SSJ3 gave me a 222. We got the angel numbers coming in here, huh? That's good luck. Do you believe that we eventually see $500 XRP? Yes. Now, in today's dollars terms, I do think that we see a $500 XRP. I also think that the dollar could be reset and revalued before we get to a $500 XRP. I used to talk more about $1,000 and $10,000 XRP, but that was 5 years ago. And what I've learned since then is that it's much more likely that we would get a dollar reset before we would reach some of these astronomical levels for XRP and even Bitcoin to, $10 million, like Michael Saylor says, or whatever his new targets are. A $500 XRP in what terms, right? In today's dollar terms, the dollar of the future is not going to be the dollar of yesterday. The inflation is a lie. And the only way out of this situation is a revaluation of gold and XRP, in my opinion. When you look at how does our country address the debt, currency, and liquidity crisis, gold and XRP are the only viable solutions, in my opinion, other than just writing off our debt, defaulting, and giving everybody the middle finger. That's also an option. And that also could be done too. The only way out, though, other than that, is a gold and XRP revaluation. We are supposed to have a bunch of gold. We should have a bunch of XRP. We know how they could get some XRP. And then you ride the asset up to the revaluated price. And that's how you're able to reset the order, reset the balance. So do I believe in a $500 XRP? Yeah, I believe in a 3-digit XRP, $100 plus. Before we talk about $1,000 or $10,000 XRP, I think that we just have to look at, would the currency be reset before we get to those levels in today's dollar terms? I think that it would. So, Southside Crypto, thank you for the 5 spot. Hey, Zach, appreciate you, brother. At what point would you consider opening an LLC for XRP holdings? Yeah, 10,000 XRP, 25,000, 50,000 XRP. It may be worth your time to open an LLC today. I've actually encouraged many people in my Discord community to create a business for your investments so that you could write off the cost. And please, obviously, consult with your tax professional. Don't take it from me. Go to your tax professional, though, and go through the process of, setting up a investment company. And or even just because the nature of the content within our Discord is also business and real estate as well too. So even if you have a real estate business or you have any sort of business really, or if you're just investing in crypto, you would be able to take advantage of the tax benefits of being able to write off your Discord membership, being able to write off Discord meetups, being able to write off XRP Las Vegas. Like, this is what I do. I already have an LLC for my media company. and I write off everything that goes into generating business for that company, right? All legitimate expenses. Now, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. So just note that. Do I write off stuff that shouldn't be written off? No. I run everything by my accountant. And I would encourage you guys to do the same thing. But when you set up a business for yourself in these activities that we're doing in crypto, you could write off my Discord membership. Maybe you're part of other groups. You could write off that membership. So, typically you would probably wait till you have some holdings there that are worth setting up an LLC and some other entities. But if you're going to be active in the business, it may make sense to do it right away. And you could do it yourself. I've done it myself. I've set up LLCs for a couple $100. It's easily done. But when it comes to doing it with crypto, you're definitely going to want to get some professionals that are going to help you set up the entity properly for crypto holdings, crypto trading, whatever your business may be, alternative investment holdings. And you're going to want to work with your CPA on being proactive when it comes to coming up with mitigating your taxes. Yeah. So does everybody need an LLC or an entity for your investing? No. But could most people benefit from having one? Yes. But everything has to be legitimate. You got to run it by your accountants. You got to partner up with the right lawyers and have those professionals help you out. But yeah, I already have LLCs. I'm going to have more LLCs. I'm in the process of getting a trust set up. And I also want to note too that people don't need to put the cart before the horse. Some people are worried about, they aren't taking action until they have an LLC or until they have a trust. Don't put the cart before the horse. If you only have 5 or 10,000 in your investments, we don't need to be talking about trusts right now, right? And we might not even necessarily need to be talking about an LLC. You might be able to take advantage of those write-offs that I mentioned, writing off Discords, writing off other things, just as a sole proprietorship. Please consult with your tax professional, right? Dennis, thank you for the 2-spot. XDC's problem, delegated proof of stake, who uses? Yeah, it's a barrier to entry on XDC. And if they don't get significant institutional adoption, I don't see them getting big retail adoption. So that would be one of the pitfalls for XDC. Is XDC is like either the institutions are going to come in and use it, or it's going to lag, because retail's not doing anything on XDC. Nothing that I'm aware of. There's no memes, there's no NFTs, there's no playing around at all in any sort of major way that I'm seeing on XDC. So it's primarily just relying on institutional adoption, and maybe I'm missing recent partnerships and ecosystem activity, but I haven't seen much. And I'm following the right people that if it was happening, I would see it. I'm not seeing it. So, L Shermanator, thank you for the 5-spot. Greatest live. What's your thoughts on the reverse carry rates? Reverse carriage rate. I think you meant reverse carry trade. Oil prices and ETFs impacting XRP price. Hyperlane and Leva short play. Thank you. L Shermanator. We are going through a global margin call right now. That is what the Japan reverse carry trade is part of. Everybody and their brother was taking out debt, leverage to do all sorts of things. People were taking out leverage to trade meme coins, for crying out loud. People were taking out debt from Japan, though, because their rates were zero. The real rates were negative, actually. And so the Japan reverse carry trade is a touch point to watch. It's a spark in a bigger fire. And right now, we've seen that the rates on those bonds have continued to go to new all-time highs, essentially. So it is breaking right now. And the only solution really is an exorbitant amount of money printing, stimulus, and a backstop in regards to buying back bonds. The only other solution would be stablecoins. And that's why we're looking to launch stablecoin legislation here in America, because it's going to open up 2 to 3 trillion demand for US treasuries. We need that badly. Somebody needs to tokenize Japanese yen in Japan so that they can come up with a solution for their debt issue. So it's happening right now. Oil has kind of remained steady. Unless we see a bigger tick up in the Middle East conflict once again, that looks to be stabilized. We're not in the clear. We continue to pray for peace, but we could see something else that does break that again. But for the time being, looks to be calm. Now, ETFs are going to be a big impact on price, though. ETFs will be big. Yeah. Fei Long, thank you for the 10 spot. Sup, Zach. Do you think that next week's crypto week with decisions on Clarity Act and Genius Act, etc., will have big impact on crypto prices? Yeah, I think that's why, the market's rallying right now. I would actually watch for a little bit of a pullback next week on July 14th on the FedWire ISO date. And I would also watch for a pullback during crypto week. We've seen this in the past. When Elon Musk went on Saturday Night Live, it rallied all the way up until he took the stage, and then it started to come back down. President Trump, going to go speak at Bitcoin Conference 2024. It rallied up until he spoke. It rallied, and then it actually dipped while he was speaking. It did rally for 2 days after, and then it dropped by, was it 30%? Might have even been more. So we typically see these buy the rumor, sell the news events that the market makers take advantage of. But overall, next week is incredibly bullish from a fundamental tailwind perspective. Getting a stablecoin legislation along with market structure passed in the House is a huge deal. Very bullish. Short term, I think that we're extending ourselves out right now. We could see how much momentum we're going to carry past this 260 resistance. That's the next big resistance level for XRP. Bitcoin's already in price discovery all-time high. So we'll see how much demand's going to keep coming in for Bitcoin at these levels. But if that starts to peter out, we'll see. Because, as we covered earlier in the episode tonight, it looks like we're moving towards, Bitcoin going to 120, 130,000 by the end of August into September, and XRP going up to $7 to $15. So I think that the move's already underway. So from an accumulation standpoint, the best time to buy was yesterday. Sorry for stating the obvious, but that's where we're at right now. Like, I don't know how much more of a pullback we get from here. There's a lot of strength in these markets right now. But I'm just trying to warn people that I don't expect us to blast off on July 14th. And we could even see a little bit of a pullback next week when those are taking place, which would be a buying opportunity. That would be a buying opportunity. Dr. Denise hits us with the 333. We should form yield armies and negotiate. And we are, right? That's really what the XRP community needs to be doing right now, is we need to be going through conducting due diligence on all of these DeFi platforms. And the XRP community's already exposed some of these guys that are coming in with some stuff that shouldn't be happening. One of the platforms was having you enter your keys to your wallet into their platform to access their DeFi. That is a big no-no. Nobody should be getting your keys. Nobody should be getting your keys. And so we called them out quickly. They're cooked. They're finished. And we're going to continue to call out any of the bad actors and any of the bad stuff. But sometimes, and you're going to see more of this too, there's guys that are going to come along here and they're going to have a slick story to tell you. The suits are going to be selling it with slideshow presentations. I've been telling you that. And the suits are showing up. They'll be, good looking, smooth talking, nice presentation, big old smile on their face. And those are the ones that are going to catch our community off guard. So, now's the time when we're feeling folks out. We're asking them questions. If a project or a company or somebody's not willing to answer your questions, that's a big red flag, because we're going to keep it simple. We're just asking simple questions. Where are our assets going to be held at? Where is the yield going to come from? And if they can't explain where the yield's going to come from in one sentence, I'd probably run. Because it should not be some complex ordeal. It really shouldn't. It should say, "Oh, well, we're our fund is backed by treasuries, so we're going to be giving you 4%. Uphold's going to give you 5% on RLUSD. I know where that's coming from. It's coming from 4.3% on a 3-month treasury. And the other 70 basis points is coming from Uphold. Can they sustain that? I think that they can for now. So I haven't put anything into RLUSD earning 5% yet, but I am planning on it. Najib Ahmed, thank you for the 2 spot. How about Crow? Also, how high XRP goes in 2025, 2026? Yeah, I don't have a prediction for Crow. I'm not too up to date on Crow. Just checking comments real quick to make sure we're all good. Yeah. I'm not sure on Crow, to be honest with you, Najib. I'm sorry. I'll have to take a look at Crow. As far as XRP in 2025, 2026, my targets are firm $20 to $30 XRP. $20 to $30 XRP. Yeah. And I think that that's very conservative too, actually. That I'm erring on the side of being conservative, because I know that people are going to be out to crucify some of us, even if our predictions are off by a couple bucks. Right? XRP goes to $18. People, Zach, you said $20. You said $20 to $30, man. You suck. So I err on the side of caution, being very conservative, and I can't wait to be pleasantly surprised when XRP goes to much, much higher prices. Okay. What is my new buy-in price? I'm not actively buying XRP right now. I'm only buying other cryptocurrencies right now. I just acquire more XRP from trading the meme coins. That's it. Let's go. I got caught up on super chats once again, so I'll give you guys 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes of rapid fire Q&A. You are one of the top investors I follow. Thank you, Margot. I appreciate you guys. God bless. Cheers. I've barely taken any drinks of this tonight. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, guys. What do you think the XRP will be at by 2030? $50 conservatively. Probably triple digits, to be honest with you. Triple digits by 2030. Yeah. What do you recommend to buy now? Well, I share all my trades in real time with my Discord group. So as soon as I make a move, my Discord group is the first to know. Recently, I've bought DEG. I was going to buy Zebek, even though I think that there's better opportunities right now than Zebek, honestly, but I was going to buy some more Zebek, but I passed up on that one. I'm trying to think of anything else that I've bought recently. I did buy a little bit of Axelar. But I can't give recommendations or give you financial advice. I can just tell you what I'm doing. And it's focusing on utility cryptocurrencies based in America. XRP, XLM, HBAR, DEG, Sologenic. I think that Solo is going to be a big runner. I was looking at Corium the other day. There's so many plays. There's just a lot of plays. You got to get tapped in with us fully. I'm holding on XRP memes right now. I haven't invested in any XRP meme coins lately. So I'm in a holding phase on all of my bags of crap on the XRP ledger. What about ETH? I have no interest in ETH. I don't think that it's going to be a big performer this bull run. I think that you'll be lucky to, double or triple up from here, which is not bad. Once again, we got a distorted reality in the cryptocurrency space where I'm like scoffing off doubling up your money on ETH. Right? In the traditional space, doubling up, tripling up, I mean, people die for those types of returns in the traditional markets. We're a little ahead of ourselves in a distorted reality. We live in an alternative universe over here in crypto where 2 to 3, forget about it. I got a 5 and a 10 bagger over here. And then you'll have degens that are even worse than me. And they say, 5 to 10x? That's nothing, Zach. I'm going to make 50x on PP coin, Pepe coin. There's a new Pepe. I don't even know. Bro, how much do you get paid to make all this XRP content? It's got to be big. Guys, I make a humble, honest living. It's nothing crazy. What you see is what you get. I have it made. I really do. I got myself a nice pickup truck. I got a nice mommy mobile for wifey. We got ourselves a nice place to live. I have 2 beautiful children. God willing, we'll go make some more. It's a great life, and I couldn't do it without your guys' support. So thank you. Thank you. I'm here for generational wealth. And I still see from time to time, I'll see on TikTok, I'll see on X, you got these new kids with new money. I was actually just talking about this with my barber today, saying how, some of these new cats, I see them flexing just some stupid crap, man. I'm seeing these guys and I'm just thinking, man, like, God bless you. You're making so much money. You're making so much money. And yet you're out here buying like designer jeans. Why? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got I got a, it's just stupid crap. Oh, look at this bag that I got. Oh, we're going on a trip here. We're doing, and I just look at it and I think, wow, that's a lot of XRP. That's a rental property. That's interest in another business. And what do you have to show for it? You got a bag, some designer jeans, and you still look like a little punk? I shouldn't have said that. But I'm telling you how I really feel about some of these guys. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Are you here to make generational wealth, or are you here to flex on the gram? Are you here to look cute for a couple years and blow through it all? or are you here to leave a legacy for your family? And I'll tell you, I'm a big believer right now. I think that there is very few things that you can do that are as fulfilling and rewarding to oneself as reproducing, having your own children. Now, no, there's obviously great things that you can do for humanity to move the world forward. There's a lot of that happening. But having your own children is something special too. And I see a lot of people aren't prepared for that. And so, do I want a whip? No. God, no. I couldn't care less about a little whip. A little whip. Designer clothes. I'm so far from that. And so I think that a lot of people are going to fumble that bag. And we're going to look back at some of these. I mean, I've seen a lot of guys crash. I mean, look at BitBoy, for crying out loud. BitBoy is a great example. And I don't even like talking about it because it's just so sad to me. I feel so bad for his family, his wife and his children. His falling out's been so sad. But that's a prime example where the greed and the attention and the ego ends up being the ultimate downfall. It's not enough, it's not enough. And they end up burning out just as fast as they blew up. That's not going to happen over here. That's not going to happen over here. Can you talk about Zebek? Yeah, man. I mean, it's a good utility. They need to get some more adoption. They've brought on some good executives and new team members. They're speaking out the House of Lords. Some good things happen in the Zebek ecosystem. I just want to see more from the team, and I want a little bit more clarity around the tokenomics. The good news about Zebek tokenomics is that all of the inflation is done by the end of March 2026. So all of the tokens will be circulating and out there by the end of March of next year. So at that point, we'll have clarity on the tokenomics. And then I just think that the team could do a little bit better of communication. They had a community space yesterday. I just haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. All right, guys, I went way longer than I actually was planning on it, but I have so much fun talking with you guys during all these live shows. Let me make sure I didn't miss any other super chats. All good, all good. Okay, guys, hey, thank you for stopping by. Everything's linked up down below or at zachrector.com. We will be back tomorrow, Friday. We'll get you a Friday update out tomorrow. We'll see how these markets are moving. But XRP strength on display. This rally is far from over. A conservative $7 to $15 by the end of August into the beginning of September. Looking like it's lining up perfectly. Please position yourself accordingly. If you want to get tapped in with our private community, you sign up through Patreon to get access to Discord. All of the XRP family merch is also at the website. We got some new stuff on the way. Legend showed up and he wants to do a dog tag giveaway, so we'll do some of that too. I'll announce that here shortly. I appreciate all of you guys for stopping by tonight, and we will be back again tomorrow for another update, okay? Thank you, everybody. Have a good one, and God bless you all.